Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
You are tuned in to Iggy's Fantasy and Betting, the podcast that puts trophies on your mantle and money in your pocket. Now, your host, coming to you high from the Rocky Mountains, IDP Iggy.
Hey! I said it, baby. I said it. That's it, man. For all you YouTubers, I tried to get the music going for you. And, trying to get it jamming up for you, see what's going on. I hope you've been digging it. And just welcome, guys. It's July 7th. My grandfather's birthday today. So got to remember to call him and tell him hello. I love him. Love you, Grandpa. I know you're not listening, but I love you. And, hey, man, a couple things, man. I woke up, didn't get much sleep again last night, but then I just got some really good sleep where you wake up and just 4 hours later and you're like, holy moly, I just woke up 20 times in 2 hours. Now I got 4 hours of sleep. Let's go take over the world. That's kind of where I'm at with it today, and I hope that you are feeling this way too, because enthusiasm is a great thing to have, my friends. Enthusiasm, right? So I got this quote, and it says, enthusiasm is the greatest asset in the world. It is greater than money, power, and influence, because you're enthusiastic. And when you're enthusiastic, not much can stop you. And that's the hard part about fantasy football, maybe. Betting is really easy. I get really enthusiastic, right? But with fantasy football, man, it's such a journey, man. And success is a journey, not a destination, right? We know the destination. We want to win. But you have to be enthusiastic about it on your journey. All right? This is Wednesday. Like I said, July 7th. We're on episode 185. 15 away from 200. Yeah. And today is Where's the D, man? Hashtag Where's the D. The hashtag I've been using for a long time now. Before the show even, but it's definitely the marquee of the show because I am IDP Iggy. This is Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. Remember, you can find us on Twitter, social, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have our own website, Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. And please, come on, go join the Kawasaki Charity League, guys. Like I told you guys, all of it will be going directly to benefit Kawasaki kids. Kawasaki 101. It's a great organization. It's kawasakikids.org if you want to go check out anything about it. Hashtag Brave Kids. Hashtag Strong Hearts. Also, it's a leading heart disease in children in the developed nations, but people do not know about it. And that's, what I'm here to do is to spread that around. So please go join up. It's an IDP league. And that's what I'm leading up to with this. It's, have you ever played IDP? Have you ever played with the individual defensive players? You're going to want to. And the people, almost everybody I know that has, there's been one out of 200. It's like, well, I don't know. It's not really for me. And I was like, what? But, you're talking about 0.5%. The rest of everybody else that has ever played individual defensive players loves it, doesn't really enjoy playing leagues without it unless it's their league of record or, like a high stakes league or something like that. But once you play with IDPs, man, it changes the game. I've told you guys relentlessly in the first episode that that's what happens. And the charity league is going to have IDPs, 16-team leagues, and if you haven't played with either one of those, come on, let's go play it. It adds a new element. It's like playing with half the chessboard. Now you're playing with all of it. It's like going from the kid table to the grown-up table. All right, and there's no reason for you to deny yourself this much. And I know some of you are thinking, well, what about the points? Well, let's go look at the points right now, and I'll tell you how it breaks down, okay? Because you're going to be really surprised, I think, at how some of these points do break down. All right, and this is another reason. It's kind of weird when you try to give commissioners advice. There's a little bit of ego. I don't need no advice. Yada yada yada. And a good friend, Fantasy Football Hustlers, starting a pod. We've been kind of talking about back and forth to bounce ideas, and it's just how to make it receptive. But I think one of the best ways to make it receptive is just join the charity league. If you join the charity league, you're going to get somebody that's been a commissioner for over a decade, and I've just kind of laid out all these point systems, and I incorporated some few things. So I'm going to show you kind of based off of that what our point system has been in my league of record, what I affectionately call the Bay. But It's there's a right way and a wrong way to do just about anything. And then there's an expression out there, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I know many of you out there have never filleted your own catfish, or fish probably in general. I've filleted enough to probably feed a small army for a month. We used to set jug lines and trot lines, and that's what, when you grow up on a river and a lake and stuff, that's what you do. But since many aren't familiar with that expression, I've changed it to there's more than one way to pet a cat, right? You can backhand it, you can do the tail, you can do the ear tickle, you can get the little whiskers. I mean, there's more than one way, right? And fantasy football is no different. There's more than one way to do it, but there's a right way. And I'm not saying that mine's the best way, but I am. I am saying that mine is the best way. And what's cool about it is a lot of people that play IDP, they start knocking defense. I see a lot of people knocking defense and special teams. That is ridiculous, man. You don't want to get pick sixes to the house. You don't want to see fat guys rumble and stumble. But put on the oxygen mask. Put on the shades. Lindell Joseph. I mean, we all love that as football fans. We love that, and we should not take that out. Don't like kick returns taken to the house. My God, I just watched Desmond Howard take like 6 back in one season, watching the '96 Packers. Those are exciting plays, man. And when they happen to one of your guys, let's say you get a double down with the defensive player, Jabril Peppers. He's returning punts. Most of the time he just fields it, tries to get a little bit of yards here and there. He's a great IDP on his own. But in return, let's say he takes one to the house. Okay, first off, for Jabril Peppers, that's going to be a special moment in his life, because he may not ever get another special teams touchdown for the rest of his career. Think about that. That's how special of a play that is. And y'all want to take that out of fantasy football. I've never understood that. I've never understood taking away the most exciting plays. Otherwise, your most exciting play is like what? A 50-yard bomb, a screen going towards a touchdown? No, man. You got to play with the special teams. You got to play with the IDPs. There are points, bukus and bukus and bukus of points out there for it, okay? And when we set up this charity league, that's how I set it up intentionally. You have your defense and you have your quarterback, right? And those two are your highest scoring two positions, right? Those are like your captains, if you will, because they're going to score more generally than any other people on the field, all right? And then you have 6 IDPs versus 6 rostered positions, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, 1 super flex, no tight end requirement, but you can have 2, right? So no big deal. Then you have your IDP versus those guys, and those are the ones going at it as well, okay? And with me saying that, it's just like 7-on-7, fantasy football sevens. That's the scoring system we set up for the charity league. But I want to focus on the defense today because, like I told you, it's defense. It's hashtag Where's the D Wednesday, baby. And we're going to get right to it. We're going to find and we're going to expose that D, all right? So just to give you a comparison, the highest scoring player on the roster was Aaron Rodgers, right? He killed it. There's no doubt about it. There's no two ways about it. And in this scoring format I'm going to show you, the charity league is going to have a little bit more points for IDPs, okay? But Aaron Rodgers had 508.96 points. You people love to hate on him for some reason. 4,299 yards, 48 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, 149 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 1 called back in the Tampa Bay game. Everything went downhill after that game. But nobody even, the next closest touchdown passes is 40. Russell Wilson did it and Tom Brady did it. Nobody else even sniffed it or got close. They're in the 30s. And y'all still love to hate him, but that's beside the point. So he had 508.96 points, all right? Patrick Mahomes came in second, 489.4. All right, so this is the defense standard that I've been playing with. I've upped it a little bit more in the charity league, but keep in mind this is based off my league of record. But I just want to show you the potential of points that you can set this up if you do it correctly, right? So number 1 in the points, Indianapolis Colts, they had 347.87. They had 40 sacks, 15 interceptions, 10 forced fumbles, 14 fumble recoveries, 3 safeties, my God, 5 touchdowns, 1 block kick. They got 1,423 return yards. Yes, you count return yards. That's how you make the defense and special teams worth it. All right. They're trying to eliminate it. Just enjoy it while you have it. In 10 more years, we may not have any more returns. We may not have punt and kickoffs. So play with it while you have it, because you never know. Enjoy it while you have it, because when it's gone, you're going to miss it. Okay. And then they got 1 touchdown off of return. They allowed 348 points on the year. And the yards they allowed was 5,314. A little bit more than some of these other ones, but they got it done with big plays. 347.87. Coming in second, really close, Los Angeles Rams, 347.07. So I lost by 8, 0.8 is what they lost by. So another great defense. 53 sacks, 14 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 12 recoveries, 1 safety, 4 touchdowns, 1 block kick. Only 751 yards in the return department. So about half as much, or a little over half of what the Colts got. See how those return yards can really help you out? And then also looking at it, we have 751 return yards, as I said, 278 points allowed. That defense was shutting people down, man. They were shutting people down. 4,511 yards allowed. Once again, 347.07 points. Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Always a good defense under Mike Tomlin. 56 sacks. That's the most that we're going to talk about. Probably the most of any team in the top 25. Yep. So you see how the Steelers did it. The Rams did it with low point allowed and a little bit of sacks. Their second most sacks. They did it with low point scorage and sacks. Steelers had led them in sacks already, but they also got 18 interceptions, 9 fumble recoveries, 13 forced fumbles, 1 safety, 3 touchdowns, 1,000 yards returning, 306 yards allowed or points allowed, and 4,893 yards allowed. So they're kind of right in the middle. They finished a little lower in points, 336, about 11 points lower than those other people, the Rams and the Colts. But the Steelers just getting it done with defense. All right, and that's another beauty of the charity league, guys. It's like, oh, I want the Steelers defense and I want T.J. Watt. Well, T.J. Watt had, 18 sacks or something like that, 19 sacks. So you're going to get, on 56 of those sacks, you'll get all those. But on 19 of them, at least, if you have T.J. Watt, you double down. That is lethal in this league. That's going to be about 10 points, maybe more in this league. A little over 10 points if you double down. That's a lot, man. That's a total for some wide receivers. So keep this strategy in mind, okay? Do not get rid of defense and special teams once again. This is why. It's ridiculous. Baltimore Ravens, 39 sacks, 10 interceptions, 12 forced fumbles, or 12 fumbles recovered, 25 forced fumbles. Hello, Marlon Humphrey. Hello, the whole secondary, really. Why am I blanking on his name? I'll think of it here in a minute. But 25 forced fumbles, man. That's 11 more than anything we've seen so far. And I think that's going to be, there's a 17, so 8 more than the next closest team. So there's more than one ways to pet a cat, guys. Like I'm telling you, this defense, if you set it up right, you're going to allow a lot of avenues for points, and they're going to be high scoring. And I think it's just more exciting. I mean, why do you want to get rid of a position? I don't get it. But 39, 25 forced fumbles, 2 safeties, 3 touchdowns, 857 return yards, 1 touchdown, 291 points allowed. Whew, them and the Rams, man, those are only 200s. So kind of easy to see where the teams have great defenses. 291 points allowed by the Ravens, 5,276 yards allowed. They were allowed people to move the ball. They were relying on big plays, right? And then they were going to shut you down in the red zone. That's kind of how it works out. Moving along to the top 5, man, we'll round it off with the top 5. New Orleans Saints, actually. Probably not too high on a lot of people's radar. They always have a good defense. They've been carrying Drew Brees the past 3 years, in all honesty. But very underrated. Cam Jordan's getting older, but you still have Demario Davis, who took me to a championship when he was a Jet. You still have great secondary. Probably for the last year, Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, how many more years could he play almost every snap? He leads the league in snaps as far as percentage-wise. Almost like the last 7-8 years, it's been 98 or higher or something like that. I don't know how long you can keep that up. Their rookies, corners are going to be kind of coming under contract. We're going to have to figure out what they're going to do. But I kind of feel like it's now or never for the Saints. That defense isn't going to hold up forever. They probably should have moved off Drew Brees a couple years ago, but they didn't. And now they're paying the price. But 45 sacks for the Saints, 18 interceptions, by far the most. Of anybody that's been mentioned, the only teams that had more or even was the Dolphins, and the Patriots. So you can tell the teams that put an emphasis on secondary, the teams that know that they're going to have good corners to compete. But 18 interceptions is a lot. Once again, more than one way to pet a cat when you have defense and special teams going. When you just got running backs, you pretty much only get yards and touchdowns. With defense, you can really open up the game. It's a lot of fun. 18 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries, 7 forced fumbles. That's weird. You don't really see that happen too much. More fumbles recovered than forced. So you can tell that they're not the Ravens. They're not out there punching balls out there. They're getting it done in the sack game, predominantly an interception game. 1 safety, 1 touchdown, 1 block kick. 1,160 return yards, very nice. 337 points allowed, 4,974 yards allowed, good enough for 309.33. So just to review the top 5 scores again, we got Colts 347.87, Rams 347.07, Steelers 336.40, Ravens 318.13, and Saints 309.33. All right, let's move it on right along to defensive linemen, that is. So we're going to check those guys out. Just going to read the top 3 on this. Keep in mind the charity league, there will be a little bit more points, but if you average this out to wide receivers, it kind of averages out. Charity league, I'm boosting them up a little bit more because I want you guys to really enjoy IDP and play in IDP and figuring out what all that entails. Okay. So DeForest Buckner, actually the leading defensive lineman in my league. You're not going to find that too many places. But he had 165.3. Aaron Donald had, he did that with 37 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 58 sack yards, 2 forced fumbles, 1 safety, 3 passes defended, 26 QB hits. Aaron Donald, 163.1, 27 tackles, 13.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 86 sack yards, 2 forced fumbles, 4 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass defended, 27 QB hits. And then Leonard Williams, man, a little unspoken, kind of not as high on the board as he should be. 29 tackles, 11.5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 101.5 sack yards, 1 fumble recovery, 1 pass defended, 3 QB hits. We're moving along to linebackers, the real moneymaker in the position. And like I said, keep in mind these guys, the points are going to be a little higher, but it'll be fun, and we'll enjoy it. And you guys are going to love IDP if you've never played. Devin White, the monster, 263.7 points. Mercy. He had 97 tackles, 9 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, 70 sack yards, 1 fumble recovery, 1 forced fumble, 4 passes defended, 16 QB hits, and 2 fumble yards. My God, Devin White is worth a top 5 pick. He's worth it, man. Not like overall in your first 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying. TJ Watt, 43 tackles, 15 sacks, 23 tackles for loss, 112.5 sack yards. So he had 15 sacks, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 7 passes defended, 41 QB hits. Roquan Smith, the Chicago Bear himself, 98 tackles, 4 sacks, 18 tackles for loss, 32 sack yards, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble forced, 1 fumble recovery, 7 passes defended, 6 QB hits, and 16 interception yards. Good for 232.8. So once again, it's 263.7 for the man, Devin White, 243.75 for TJ Watt, 232.8 for Roquan Smith. All right, moving on to the last position today before we wrap it up. Be a little quicker show. Budda Baker, man, always a stud. Always a stud. 190.3 points, 90 tackles, 2 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 23 sack yards, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 6 passes defended, 3 QB hits, and 90 interception yards, right? Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And Jordan Poyer, 190.3 for Budda Baker. Jordan Poyer ended the season with 178.3, pretty good. 91 tackles, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 14 sack yards, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 5 passes defended, 4 QB hits, and 14 interceptions. Not too bad. Number 3, Jamal Adams, 59 tackles. So he did it a different route. Once again, more than one way to pet a cat. 59, 9.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 39.5 sack yards, 1 forced fumble, 3 passes defended, and 14 QB hits. 3 passes defended, not that much for a DB, but Jamal Adams gets it done in a different way. He reward high for sacks. Go get this guy. All right, so Budda Baker, 190.3. Jordan Poyer, 178.3. Jamal Adams, 164.45. Yeah. And it's those are great teams, great defenses. They usually go hand in hand. A great defense is going to be led by a great DB or a great linebacker, and that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, as they say. Well, keep in mind, guys, the charity league, Kawasaki's disease, I'm asking for $20. If you only put $1 in, $2 in, I even had a guy from a nation that's not near as wealthy as Western Europe and the United States, and he told me, hey, man, that's a lot of money for me. I was like, don't worry about it, dude. Let's just get you in there and let's have some fun. All right. So I just want you guys to get in there. I want everybody to experience IDP. I want you to experience playing in 16-team leagues. Once you do that, if you join this league, you're going to do better in your other leagues, simply because most of them aren't 16-team. Most of them are 12 or 10. And you're going to be playing with IDPs. You're going to understand football so much better. So much better. Or if you're just a stat nerd, you look at the stats, pick out the people with the best sacks, best tackles, most passes defended, you'll be all right. But if you pay attention to the game, it's going to make the betting better. All right? And this is Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. Hashtag Iggy's F&B, baby. And that's what I'm here really to do. I'm going to put money in your pocket. I'm going to put trophies on the mantle. All right? Or rings on your finger if you're a ring person for your league. Let's go make that happen, all right? It's not too difficult. It might be a little intimidating at first. What isn't when you do something new that's dynamic and complex, all right? But once you figure it out, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to go get going, and you're going to enjoy playing with defensive players. I mean, they're the studs. Who doesn't like Devin White? Who doesn't like TJ Watt coming around the corner and wrecking Baker Mayfield, bro? Are you kidding me? Who does not like that? Who doesn't like seeing who doesn't like seeing Budda Baker take it back, get a pass defended, get an interception, take it down to the 10-yard line and watch Kyler Murray running in, right? I mean, that's a hard thing. Kenny Moore, the second, finished 4th, got a touchdown. I think he's a wonderful DB, guys. Wonderful. But if you're a fan of a team, you love the defensive players on your team. That's just the bottom line. The Reggie Whites, the Brian Urlachers, the Ray Lewises, the Ed Too Tall Joneses, the Randy Whites, we love Bryant Young, Charles Haley. We love these guys, man. Lawrence Taylor, they are like, I get goosebumps talking about IDPs and defensive players, man, because it's exciting and it lifts you up. And you're going to love it. Once you play it, I'm not saying you won't play in other leagues that don't have it, but you'll probably always want to play in at least one IDP league. Let IDP Iggy be that guy for you. Remember, we're on all social media accounts, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Iggy's Fantasy and Betting. Let's get you guys signed up for the league. I am giving away a draft kit as long as you pay $10 to the charity league. I'm giving it away for free. We're selling it for $10, or you can just go join the charity league, get the draft kit, join another league, play IDP, and have lots of fun. Let's get after it, all right? So here's to you guys looking out. You know how I like to end the show. I love all of y'all. Happy July 7th, episode 185. Let's fill out this league. Let's go have some fun. Play IDP football, guys. Let's go. All right. Take care. All the best out there.